with WrestleMania season now over, followed by the usually highly rated follow-up to the event, which this year featured the big attraction of the first ever draft concept, along with the first-time curiosity of the brand split and the revamped Raw with a new look, leading to some of the most watched shows in the past year. April 8th, with all the special hotshot angles now over, said to be the big test on how well the company can maintain the boosted interest with Raw back to regularly scheduled programming in its now established format, opening with Undertaker coming out for a promo responding to the legitimate short-notice change of him being taken out of the Backlash pay-per-view main event a day after officially setting up the Triple H title match, with the company looking to capitalize on the Hogan return momentum to see him replacing Taker in the match, calling out Ric Flair for the explanation on the change to eventually bring out Steve Austin to set up Taker and Austin as the top two contenders, with Flair booking both into #1 contender matches to face the winner of Hogan vs. Hunter following Backlash, with Taker vs. Van Dam and Austin vs. Scott Hall in the double main event for tonight, continuing the Raw momentum to open strong with over 5.9 million viewers from the first quarter. And after the first viewership battle between the brands last week saw both shows drawing strong numbers, with SmackDown winning by a close margin of 6.7 to 6.6 million viewers, the second competitive aspect of the brand split kicked off over the weekend with the first branded Raw and SmackDown house shows promoted in separate tours, with Raw's A-Crew events on April 6th and 7th headlined by Austin vs. Taker in Utah and Denver, while on the same night SmackDown's top tour headlined by Triple H vs. Jericho was taking place in California, with the crowds at the events in a similar result to the TV viewership, seeing SmackDown drawing a combined attendance of over 14,000 people to outdraw Raw's total of around 11,000, with the Raw shows also seeing an unusual result, with Taker going over Austin on both nights in a rare situation of a heel winning a non-title main event on a non-televised event, as Raw on the night following the strong TV numbers of the past month also seen a massive crowd in the building, selling out the America West Arena in Phoenix with over 16,000 people, kicking off the first match of the night with Bubba Dudley, now established as a babyface singles wrestler, defending the hardcore title against Booker to pin Goldust to retain in a match going 4 minutes. Raw picked up in every quarter throughout the first hour, averaging over 6.3 million viewers in one of Raw's most watched 9 to 10 p.m. hours of the year, with the highest profile match of the hour seeing Kane vs. X-Pac in a Falls Count Anywhere match, with Waltman after being off television for months and returning straight into a featured spot due to his connection with Hall and Nash in the NWO, responding to talks of him being politically elevated due to his real-life friends behind the scenes, saying that it's just a bunch of insecure people and he's been in the business for 15 years at a high level, while challenging the critics to top him and take his spot, with Nash after undergoing surgery to repair his torn bicep last Tuesday, responding in a message on his personal website a day later on allegations of some dirt sheet marks of him taking advantage of the injury to take more time off the ring, saying that he had 2 MRI tests, with the first mistakenly only showing a bruise on his arm suffered in a tag match against Rock and Hogan on Raw on March 25, while the second scan showed him having a torn bicep that led to him immediately getting the surgery a day later, expected to keep him out of the ring for the next 2 months, with Raw next seeing the storyline explanation to write Nash off television, with Ric Flair suspending Nash after interfering in the Kane vs. Waltman match, with the match and post-match angle of Hall and Nash's backstage interference followed by a Regal vs. Spike Dudley European title match which saw Spike going over to win the belt in 5 seconds, peaking the first hour with a 4.8 rating. The first of the double headliner on the night saw Undertaker vs. Rob Van Dam crossing into Raw's second hour to go 9 minutes at the top of the hour, and after climbing throughout the broadcast, Raw peaked at the 10 p.m. quarter with Taker vs. Van Dam picking up over 700,000 viewers to a show-high 5.2 rating with over 7.2 million viewers, with the match while expectedly seeing Taker going over to put him in line for the title shot, being laid out to protect RVD, with him being put over strong throughout, including having the match won before Eddie Guerrero's interference to cost him the match, continuing the build-up to the first Van Dam vs. Guerrero match while shifting the focus to the Austin vs. Hall match set to headline the show in the next hour. Three weeks after making his TV debut, the Brock Lesnar push went to the next level, with him coming out with Paul Heyman for the first primetime promo segment of his career, with Heyman building up the heat for Brock, running down the Phoenix crowd before putting him over big based on his athletic accomplishments as an NCAA heavyweight champion, while establishing himself in the manager role for the first time in front of the WWF audience after previously only being seen as the ECW owner in 1997 and Raw announcer during the Invasion angle over the past year, saying that Brock hired him as his agent based on his past accomplishments, which saw him managing Austin and Undertaker early in their careers to groom them into the Stone Cold and Deadman superstar characters they turned out to be, introducing Lesnar as the next big thing for the first time, with the company as a shoot targeting Brock to be a major player since signing him to a boosted developmental deal in 2000, setting up his first program on the way to the top with the Hardys attacking him from behind, including sending him out of the ring with two massive chair shots to the head in the first selling of his career on WWF television, picking Raw slightly to a 5.1 rating and a quarter, also featuring a Mr. Perfect vs. Big Show match in a '97 Nitro rematch, which saw them repeating the memorable spot of Hennig Perfect flexing the now much heavier Paul White. With Ric Flair clarifying the #1 contender situation as Taker and Austin facing off against each other at Backlash for the title shot if they win their respective matches on the night. Scott Hall and Steve Austin made their entrances at 10:53 p.m. for the main event, closing another strong hour for Raw, averaging over 6.9 million viewers in one of the most watched hours of the show in the past 8 months, to continue the wave of momentum from the boosted audience watching the draft show, with Hall vs. Austin going 10 minutes, crossing into the 5-minute overrun, picking Raw back up to close the broadcast at a 5.1 rating, with the show overall not only maintaining the big number of last Monday doing another 4.8 rating, but further increasing its viewership to over 6.6 million viewers in the joint third most watched Raw show of 2002, giving the Raw brand and the company in general its strongest positive sign of increased interest since the brand extension era started, due to the show keeping the entire audience watching the debut show last Monday with no special visual change or major angle on the night outside of the two big star power main events, with Austin vs. Hall in the WrestleMania 18 rematch ending up with Taker followed by Flair and Bradshaw interfering for the finish to see Austin laying out Waltman and Hall to win the match, followed by him laying out Flair with a stunner for the second week in a row to continue the build to the eventual Flair vs. Austin confrontation.